Hi, this is Melody with Summit Software, and this demonstration is on using an in-process host to streamline the IDE. An in-process host, or IPH, is a specialized project which includes a class implementing the VSTA design time in-process host interface. By implementing this interface, the IPH is able to communicate with the IDE through the host adapter. This communication allows the IPH to customize and interact with the IDE, and it runs in the same process. IPHs are used by specifying their GUID in a project or project template. We'll start by looking at the standard or default IDE. We're going to get to there through the shape at macro recording C# sample. So I've gone ahead and run the host. Now I'm going to launch the IDE, which is going to bring up our macro project. And this sample is designed to only work with one macro project. So giving the user the full IDE, which includes the ability to do things like create a new project or exit out of this project, might not be the best idea. It also opens the project without the main code file visible, and it exposes some files that we really don't want exposed to the end user. So as we can see, there's a lot of functionality that not only is not needed for this, but it could cause problems. So we'll go ahead and close down the IDE and the host. And then to force the new macro project to be created with the IPH, we're going to change which template is used to create the macro project. And we'll force that new creation by deleting the old macro project, which we created in this last run. The IPH we'll be using is going to streamline the IDE for use with the macro project. And again, this is a sample that was included with the SDK. And specifically, this IPH is going to remove the standard toolbars and windows, and it's going to add a custom toolbar for use with the macro project. We'll return to our host application and run it, this time using the project template, which uses the IPH for the macro project. We will launch the IDE. And this time we'll notice that instead of having the standard and debugging toolbars as well as the main menu, we have our custom toolbar. We also open with the main code file as the active document and don't have access to the other files included with the project, which are not intended for the end user. So we'll start using some of the buttons that's on the custom toolbar added by our IPH. It includes a tip of the day, a button which adds a Hello World macro, which we'll see added here. We can then build the project, switch to the host application, and then run the macro from here. Let's do something a little more advanced and add some code to the startup method. So we will add a shape to the active drawing. And we're adding it to the startup method because this is the method which is called when the add-in is loaded. So we'll select to start debugging. We'll switch to our host and we'll see that the shape was added. And we'll return to the IDE and stop debugging. So as we can see, this IPH was very useful in offering the end user a more streamlined experience without offering them the options to open a new project or close the macro project or exposing them to any of the files which are not intended for their use. For more information on in-process hosts or other VSTA related subjects, visit sumsoft.com or contact us directly at vsta support@sumsoft.com. You can also download the sample used in this demonstration from sumsoft.com, or you can check out the SDK documentation through the MSDN site.